What's up, nation? I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Today's my birthday, so all I ask you to do is you hit that subscribe button. Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and before I get into my top 10 quarterbacks in the 2023 NFL Draft, you already know what time it is. Shout out to our sponsor, Vincero Collective, 20% off and free shipping at VinceroCollective.com/chat. Obviously, with the Las Vegas Raiders moving on from quarterback Derek Carr, there's a lot of questions, a lot of rumors circulating around the draft. What is Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler going to do? So I figured, you know what? Let's look at the top 10 quarterbacks. But I'm going to be real with y'all. These quarterbacks are good. The ones in next year's class, if you've watched the show before, you'll know I love the class next year. But we are going to go from 10, and we're going to work our way down to 1. At number 10 here, I'm going to go with a man from UCLA, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And if you want to find a high upside athletic quarterback that you could probably get in the later rounds of the draft, I'm talking 6th, 7th round, this might be your dude. Athletic QB with above average arm talent. Definitely flashes some good pressure detection because I need a QB with higher pocket awareness. He does obviously have that ability to escape the pocket, pick up first downs with his legs. I'll be real with you though. His decision making, it's not great, and there's a lot of turnovers that can come with that. I can already see Josh McDaniels smashing his headset because Thompson threw a pick. Is a Las Vegas guy. Last season with the Bruins, 2,883 yards, 25 touchdowns, 7 picks, and a pretty nice completion percentage, if you ask me. So I want to know from all y'all, maybe this is the first time you've come across the Raiders Report video. I know the nation is a passionate fan base, and I like to be able to interact with y'all. So who's the best quarterback in the 2023 NFL Draft? Let me know down in the comments. Let's go to number 9 here. I live in Dallas, Texas, and I know a few people that might have been hanging out with Stetson Bennett that night. I'm kidding. But I do know this. This is a young man here who has a great opportunity because of his confidence. And he is a very confident passer. I believe that he has some pretty good accuracy as well. The thing that's going to help him out the most in the NFL, in my personal opinion, is that quick release, because his ability to get rid of the football quickly, that's good. Highly respected by a lot of teammates. He is that tough dude, if you will. Arm strength, definitely lacking. The size, it's lacking. But the thing that people are going to talk about when they talk about Stetson Bennett is that he's a winner. Now, I'm curious of how much he's able to win at the next level, because I'm sorry, you're not going to have as much talent around you compared to like he did Georgia, compared to other teams in college football. But overall, Bennett, I do think would be an interesting guy to be a backup in McDaniels' system, because you want somebody who can execute an offense and who can go in there in a huddle and demand some respect. He's not going to be the most talented guy, but I do think no matter what, Stetson Bennett is going to command a huddle. Today's show is presented by Vincero Collective, and if you haven't already got set up with one of these watches, what the heck are you waiting for? Promo code chat at VinceroCollective.com/chat. Vincero's goal is to help the everyday person accessorize their outfits with premium products at a price that makes sense. For all the boss men and women out there, for anybody who's watching the show, the watch that I have on is actually the one that you see on screen right now. To me, their watches are a must. They can elevate your look with the twist of the wrist. Made with surgical-grade stainless steel, durable silicone, and Italian marble straps. These sleek modern watches come with a reliable automatic and Japanese quartz movements. You need to go check them out if you haven't yet. Right now, if you're looking for a perfect gift, I don't know, my birthday, I told y'all it's today. Hit me up, y'all. For a special someone or for yourself, you can save now 20% off and free shipping site-wide with our exclusive code CHAT. Support our show and check them out at Vincero Collective.com and use code CHAT down below. Shout out to them for sponsoring the Raiders Report. I wear their watches, whether it's date night, whether I'm hanging out with Pops this weekend. No matter what it is, I'm doing it. VinceroCollective.com/chat. Jaren Hall from BYU. I have said this a few times because when I turned on the tape, I'm a baseball guy. And when you see some of the weird motions that Hall uses, you could tell, like, all right, this dude's turned a few double plays in his time. He has those funky arm angles. And the comparison I'm going to throw out there, he reminds me of a Dollar General version of Patrick Mahomes. He's not nearly the quarterback. But when I think of the weird shit Mahomes is able to do on the field, that's what Hall is able to do. Dynamic quarterback. He is a threat as a passer. He's a threat as a runner. His arm strength is decent. It is not elite. And when you look at the stature of a QB, so a lot of people, they want these big guys. 6'1", 205. Doesn't really quite have that stature, but really hasn't played all that much at the QB position. This past season with the Cougars, 31 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 3,171 yards. I like Jaren Hall. Could be a target to look at in the 5th, 6-ish round. Let's go to the number 7 quarterback here on my list. It's Jake Haener. Hey, I know a lot of people want another Fresno State quarterback, right? Now, I'll tell you this. If you were to ask me, Mitch, is there a quarterback in the draft that could be the next Brock Purdy? This is your guy, because average arm strength, but he does have above average accuracy. And I'm a type of dude where if I'm going to look at a quarterback, I like accuracy a lot. And don't get me wrong, when a guy has that arm strength, it does. It makes me a little feel good downstairs, right? But he does have the ability to cycle through reads quickly. He does lack that prototypical size and has struggled in years past. But if you're telling me right now, all right, could you find somebody in the 6th round that's going to be a backup in the NFL for 5 to 10 years? Sometimes that does come with some good value. I mean, we've seen a lot of quarterbacks be able to be a solid backup, make a hell of a living, and that's what Jake Haener is able to do. Plus, he's from Danville, California. I'm from Danville, Pennsylvania. Shout out to the 570. Let's go to number 6 here on my list. It's Tanner McKee from Stanford. I'm just going to get this out of the way right now. When you go to Stanford, you are very, very smart, and that's exactly what Tanner McKee is. And I'm not just making the comparison because Davis Mills also went there, but he reminds me of Davis Mills. They both look like that they should be in a movie from Land Before Time with their long neck. And now he's long, he's tall, stands there in the pocket. He's got good arm strength. He is a very smart quarterback, and I do think that he will make a good backup in the NFL. But watching him move through the pocket and watching him move in general, do you ever get mud on your feet? Has anybody ever gone outside, you get a bunch of mud on your feet and you can't run? Or you're trying to run through snow that's up to your ankles? That's what I see with Tanner McKee. It's not fluid whatsoever. Last season, 2,947 yards, 13 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. But it's the build. It's 6'6", and he's a string bean. There's going to be NFL coaches. There's going to be GMs out there like, man, I might be able to put another 20, 30 pounds on him. Who knows? Could we change him up a little bit? He's a good backup. You don't want him as your starter. Now, before I get into my top 5 quarterbacks, who's your favorite sleeper at the QB position? All the guys get a lot of concentration in terms of the top dudes, the first-round prospects, the second-round prospects. But we've seen in years past, you can find some diamonds in the rough. Hell, Brock Purdy was the last pick in the NFL draft. So who is just top sleeper at the quarterback position? I'm going to be looking. Let's go to number 5 here. I'll tell you what, from Raider fans, this would be the number 1 top-selling jersey in Las Vegas. Hendon Hooker, the quarterback out of Tennessee. And I don't care what anybody says out there. I like Hooker a lot. Hendon's also good. But the ACL injury at 25 years old as a rookie scares me. So realistically, you're not really going to be able to see him play until he's 26. And, well, Lamar Jackson's younger than him. He does have good pocket passer size. He is dual threat, but again, I need to see what he looks like after the ACL. Great footwork, solid pocket awareness. Hendon Hooker, to me, before the ACL injury, he had a real shot to win the Heisman Trophy, and it sucks because the Tennessee Volunteers had an incredible season. They were going in the right direction, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. It sucks so much because if Hooker did not tear his ACL, there's a real shot he could be in that conversation of being in the first round. A real conversation of being the number 3 quarterback overall. And for me, because of that, I'm not really going to target him until the 3rd round. Let's go to number 4 here on my list. And all these quarterbacks from here on out, I believe, get taken in round 1. Anthony Richardson. If you like projects, Richardson is probably one of the biggest projects I have ever seen at the quarterback position. He's an athletic freak. Like, when I look at the tape of Richardson run in college football, he reminds me of Cam Newton. I have yet to see a quarterback be able to run like Richardson and Cam Newton do at the college football level. I like his vision. His vision to me is actually good. His mechanics, though, I'm going to be real with you, they're dog shit. He needs at least 1 year to learn behind a vet. If your plan is to draft Anthony Richardson in the first round of the 2023 NFL draft and put him on the field, you're just going to waste it. You're going to ruin him. It's going to be unbelievably frustrating because he's not ready. 53.8% completion percentage. He needs good coaching. He needs a good mentor. So if your idea is to draft Richardson, if you're the Raiders or if you're any NFL team that's got somewhat half of a brain, you would put a veteran in front of him for 1 year, and then you would let him rock and roll in year 2. My problem with that also is, though, I like the quarterbacks a lot more in next year's class. So do you want the Raiders to draft the QB in round 1? There's a lot of people that do. There's a lot of people that don't. It really depends on what you think of the quarterbacks. I mean, you might even have to trade up from number 7 to get your guy. A lot of questions, and we're going to continue to make videos around the Raiders and a lot of draft rumors. Let's go to number 3 here on my list. It is Will Levis. He's a weird guy. Puts mayonnaise in his coffee, eats bananas with the peel still on, but you know what? He's got the best arm in the draft. And I go back and I look at a lot of quarterbacks in arm strength. Will Levis is really, truly up there. His quick release for somebody who does have the arm size that he has, it's kind of rare in my opinion. And the thing that I like about him, he can make those intermediate and long passes. They look simple. But the ones that are really frustrating are the short passes. It almost looks like he aims it a lot to me. His mechanics need work. And he does struggle to recognize some coverages. But to me, if you're trying to find a quarterback that, again, you could let sit for 1 year, I trust Will Levis to be able to do it. Now, the last 2 guys that I talked about, Richardson and Levis, they have both have the highest upside in this class. Their floors are way down there, but their upside is higher than both of these guys. And if you believe that you have the right head coach that can get the most out of him, I mean, he's getting compared to Josh Allen because of the size and build, and he has the athletic prowess to be Josh Allen. But Josh Allen was not that great coming out of Wyoming. He needed a lot of work. Do you trust Josh McDaniels to put in the work with Will Levis? I don't know. Let's go to number 2 here on my list, and probably the top dude that a lot of y'all want the Las Vegas Raiders to take. It's C.J. Stroud, quarterback for Ohio State. To me, no doubt, regardless, one of the top quarterback prospects, and it actually depends who you talk to. I've talked to a few people in the NFL realm in the draft who I personally trust and say that he's the best guy. I've also talked to some people that are like, he's like 3 or 4 on my list. I know for a fact that Dave Ziegler is a big-time fan of him, and his game that he had against Georgia was the best game that I watched out of any college quarterback, maybe in the last 3 years. Like, that's how good it was. When you're able to go up against that Georgia defense and toss for 348 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, what I don't like about Stroud, because he does have the arm strength, he has the accuracy, he has everything that you look for in a quarterback. Size, he's a pocket passer. But honestly, for as athletic as he is, when he gets outside of the pocket and plays break down, he's a totally different dude. And he does need to develop that part of his game a little bit. But if you don't put a great offensive line in front of him, I'm worried what Stroud's going to look like, because at Ohio State, he's had a great line and a lot of talented players around him. Good tape, Georgia. Bad tape, Rutgers. Go check it out. Number 1 here on my list, it's Bryce Young. And to me, Bryce Young is the safest pick at the quarterback position when you look at these guys. I don't think he has the highest upside, but I know he has the safest floor. He is a great leader with a unbelievably high football IQ, and you see a lot of these quarterbacks, and I think right now a perfect example of that is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, to me, isn't the most he's not the best quarterback out there, but he's always cool, calm, and collective, and that's what you're going to see here from Bryce Young. 2021 Heisman Trophy winner. He is undersized. His arm strength is not elite. He did battle a few injuries last season with the Crimson Tide, but to me, Bryce Young has that it factor, and a lot of times you don't really know how to put it on tape, or it doesn't always show up on tape. But when you watch a quarterback play and he just always looks cool, calm, and collected, that makes the rest of your team feel cool, calm, and collected. And when the lights are shining the brightest on this guy is when he plays the best. He's got that Joe Burrow, and he's got that Jalen Hurts thing where you're just like, this guy can ball. And when I watch Bryce Young, I get it. He's small. He's probably actually going to be like 5'10", 180 pounds. But some guys can just play football, and that's what I'm going to trust, Bryce Young. If he was bigger, like C.J. Stroud size, he would be hands down the number 1 overall pick, and nobody would even talk about it. So take your guess now. That's my top 10. Which quarterback are the Raiders most likely to draft in 2023? Most likely. Is that C.J. Stroud? Is it somebody else a little bit lower on the list? If you had to put all your chips right now into the center, we're betting on 00 green, None of this, we're betting on black, betting on red. No, I ain't doing that shit. Put it on green. Who you going with? Which quarterback's most likely to get taken? One more time here before I get the heck out of here. Dorian, Thompson-Robinson, Stetson, Bennett, Jaren Hall, Jake Haener, Tanner McKee, all the quarterbacks that you see on screen, I would not target until the 5th round. Hendon Hooker, I'm looking probably somewhere around 3rd and 4th round, though. I do think he's probably gone before then. And then I don't believe Anthony Richardson should be taken in the 1st round, but because of his upside, it will happen. Will Levis will also be an early pick. Hell, there's some people that think that he could be the first quarterback taken. And then C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young. Those are my top 10 quarterbacks in the 2023 NFL Draft.